Apple lets me hold her like a baby, and it's literally my favorite thing ever. But I filmed a video at like 3 in the morning because I was like, my hairstyle is cute, and I just took my braids down. So I decided I wanted to like film a video while my hair was cute because I need to film this week anyways. So it's kind of like out of nowhere, but also not really at the same time. So today I'm going to be doing my Did These Books Understand the Assignment? I think that's what I called it last year, where it's basically just me going over my anticipated releases of like what I said at the beginning of the year what my anticipated releases are, and then me saying whether they were worth the hype or rather they basically if they were good or not. Guys, Sweet Trimayani here, and before we get into the video, this video is actually sponsored by Book of the Month. So if you guys didn't know, I've been working with Book of the Month for a year now. It's one of my favorite companies to work with, and I'm just gonna get into telling you guys what Book of the Month is all about. Book of the Month is a super popular, fast, online growing book service for readers. Their mission is to promote new and emerging authors and to help readers discover new books. Their team vets hundreds of books each month and gives readers their choice from a curated selection of new and emerging early release titles. So you can spend more time reading and less time researching. Book of the Month is risk-free. You can skip any month at any time and you will not be charged. The best hardcover fiction, you can get your first book using the code JOLLY. In the month of December, they're doing a special deal. New members can get their first book for $5 using the code JOLLY. And now we're going to get to the book choices. So the first book is Olga Dies Dreaming. This is a debut and an early release. Two siblings vie for the American dream until Hurricane Maria drags their estranged mother back into their lives. History of Wild Places. This is magical realism, a mesmerizing tale about the search for a missing woman last seen going into an isolated forest town with some secrets. A Flicker in the Dark, which I am so excited for. This is an early release, and it's not even coming out until like January, I believe. And I actually had this book pre-order because I was like so excited for it. So literally when I saw this in the Book of the Month box, I screamed. I'm not even gonna lie. This was like one of my anticipated releases for next year. I said, this thriller is a debut and it's an early release title. When a killer emerges from an eerie family pattern, Chloe Davis wonders if she really escaped her past. And it just sounds so freaking good. Like Somebody's Daughter, which is a memoir. It's a debut and a yearly look back. A moving coming-of-age memoir about the complications of family provides ample testament to the resistance of love. And then the last book is The Holiday Swap, which is a Christmas romance. And 'tis the season for hijinks. Twins who could both use a reset decide to revive their childhood habit and swap places, which I just watched The Princess Switch, and I'm kind of obsessed with twins or people who look alike switching places, so I'm very intrigued. The month also sent me an add-on, and so the add-on that I got was John Green's book, The Anthropocene Reviewed, and this is a non-fiction book, and it is essays on a human-centered planet. So yes, thank you again to Book of the Month for sponsoring this video. Don't forget that if you join Book of the Month in December, you can get your first book for $5.99 using the code JOLLY. I will leave the link to Book of the Month and the code in the description box. So now on to the rest of the video. Oh my gosh, I look so pretty in this video, guys. Like, oh, when I used to do an intro, that's so I have The Castle School for Troubled Girls. Literally didn't even read that. This year I kind of discovered that like I'm getting out of YA a lot less. I mean, I just look so good. The Taking of Jake Levinston. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. This book, The Taking of Jake Livingston, is about this kid who's in high school, and he has the ability to like see ghosts. And there is another guy, a kid who shot up a high school, and so he is like haunting the black kid who can see ghosts. And at first I was scared to get into it because I thought it was gonna be like, I don't know, what school shootings is like a really sensitive topic, which is very crazy because I live in Michigan as I'm talking about this right now. It's very interesting looking at this book because I live in Michigan, and one of the school shootings happened here. the one where the kid was like pretending to be a sheriff, and actually that school was like an hour away, and literally my brother, who's in middle school, his school got shut down for copycat threats. School shootings are just the kind of topic to me where like you cannot make me sympathize with a school shooter. Like that's just never gonna happen. And so this book wasn't trying that. It wasn't at all. But whenever I read school shooter and it's not in like a negative light, I'm always like, you know. And obviously it was negative, but I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I think I might have, I don't think I lowered my rating, but I was like mentally lowered my rating after I did the live stream with Gabby from Gabby Reads. Empire the Vampire, which I did read, I gave it 3 to 5 stars. I kind of knew that this book, like, it wouldn't be all that for me because J. Kristoff books are just very like in the middle. I was really loving it in the beginning, but I think it dragged on for so long to the point where I just got bored instead. And so this book is about this guy who is, his family's like killed and he's taken off to be like in this brotherhood for like vampires, and the book follows him as he's being arrested and he's telling his life story. Why are you telling your life story when you're being arrested? I don't know. He's telling his life story and how he killed like the vampire prince. Counting Down with You, I did read. I gave 3 to 5 stars. This is about this girl who's Bangladesh and her parents are going to, I think they're going away for like 30 days or something, and she ends up like, let's say fake dating the bad boy, but she ends up like becoming like invested in a bad boy. And I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars because I felt like it could easily be very outdated. Like I feel like if I would have read this book now, some of the jokes already would be outdated. I feel like one thing about reading contemporary, the new age contemporary romances, is that they use a lot of pop culture references, which I hate because it's very easy for them to become outdated. But I still enjoyed the book. I just wish that it didn't have so many pop culture references. Also, I just don't like pop culture references in general in like movies. I mean, in books, which is so crazy because like in TV shows it'd be like cracking me up. But for some reason in books I just can't do it. I have Motel by Penelope Douglas, which didn't even come out. I think that was supposed to be Thrice 6 Venom, which I did read. Penelope Douglas's first female romance, and I loved it. It was like bullying, but female. Oh, they ate. And I want a Thrice 6 Venom book, like about the brothers. I need to have it. Chain of Iron. I haven't read that yet, and I haven't read it because I realized like, oh, if I wait it out long enough, I can wait until Chain of whatever the last book is called comes out, and I can just read them both back to back. Big brain. Oh, I have A Dark and Hollow Star. I didn't F that book. I could not get into it. Some of the characters have very similar names to other characters, which I say this all the time, but I could have sworn in like 6th grade we learned to not name characters names similar to other characters because that'll make your readers very confused. Also, I want to apologize for this still background. My ring light is still broken, so The Heart Principle, another letdown. Oh my gosh, this book was, I just don't understand how people love this book. Like I get that people loved it, but if you look at it in the sense of if you read all 3 books in a row, I don't understand how you like this book because this book was so different from the other 2 books. This one, I think I would have liked it if it was published outside the series. Like if she would have published this not about Quan and about somebody else. This book basically follows this girl who is essentially like based off of like how Helen Hong felt, which I am not saying like, what am I trying to say? Basically is that I feel like for this series, I feel like she should have wrote this book outside of this series. Basically I think she should have saved this storyline for another series because it kind of like what the series was, this is like a romance series, you know. It kind of ruined Kwan's character, I'm not gonna lie. And also like I came here for like romance and happiness and stuff like that. I literally just read a depressing book to go to this book. It literally put me in such a deep state of depression because I went to this romance book. This is like when you go into like a chick lit and it has like, you know, the cartoon cover and you're going and it doesn't say anything about the life, it just says the romance. You go into the book and it's like really depressing and you're like, what? That's literally what this was. Like I understand why people liked it, but in the context of being in the series, it does not flow with the series well, in my opinion. Actor H.E. Brown, didn't read it. Twice Shy, didn't read it. I didn't hear, everyone was like, oh my gosh, you'll give it 4 stars, you give it 4 stars. I'm a 5-star kind of girl when I read books. I don't give books 5 stars. I don't know, but something about me knowing that I'm gonna give it 4 stars, I don't know what it is. When I know I'm gonna give a book a rating that's like 3 or 4 stars, no matter if I know it'll be good, I just cannot read it after that. The Dragon and the Queen, have not read. The Crown of Gilded Bones, my most disappointing book of the year. The Last Graduate. The Last Graduate, beautiful, beautiful book. Okay, it's the second in the series. If you read Daily Education, you have to read the Daily Education, and you have to read The Last Graduate. For some reason, the title for the third book has not been released yet, and neither has the date or the book cover, but whatever, that's okay. We live. Very excited for the third book. It ended on a cliffhanger. I'm telling you right now, if you love The Last Graduate, this book ended on a cliffhanger. So if you want to do what I did with Chain of Iron and you just hold off on this book until the last book comes out, that would be your best bet. I just couldn't wait. For the Wolf, I did read, and this is one of my most anticipated books of the year, and it was very subpar. It was about this girl. It's like a Beauty and the Beast. It's a Little Red Riding Hood retelling, which I was so excited for because I need the hold that Beauty and the Beast has on authors is very concerning at this point, and I needed something that wasn't Beauty and the Beast and wasn't the same story. When I tell you that I know the story of Beauty and the Beast and I've never seen that movie a day before in my life, I can tell you the entire plot line just because of the fact that I've read so many Beauty and the Beast retellings. And so when I saw Little Red Riding Hood, I was like, okay, period. I love Little Red Riding Hood. It's one of my favorite fairy tales. So also reminds me of Hoodwink, which I used to be obsessed with as a kid. But so this one was about this girl, which the first daughter is for the throne, and the second daughter is for the wolf, and whatever. So the main character, she is going to be sent with the wolf, and it was like very insta-lovey. He was like grumpy, which I loved, but they fell in love so fast. I was like, got bored, and yeah, I was just bored. Basically. Darling by Kay Ankrum, I did not read. The Hawthorne Legacy. People come into my live streams and are like, oh, did you read The Hawthorne Legacy? I am not reading that. First of all, it's gonna be a trilogy. Y'all know, if you know me, you know how I feel about series. If the series doesn't need to be more, don't extend the series more than you need to, okay? Because now I'm starting to think that you just want my money. Like, you got a success out of this book and you're like, oh, I'm gonna keep. You got a success out of this book and you're like, oh, I'm gonna keep writing in the series. That and then even if it isn't like that, that's just how it feels. Like, why does this book need to be 3 books long? I don't understand. It does not need to be. So I'm not gonna read it, and I'm gonna wait till the third book comes out, and then I'm just gonna spoil myself for everything because it doesn't need to be a series. I get that. Survive the Night. I was gonna read Survive the Night, but then all the reviews came out on how bad Survive the Night was, and I'm not gonna read it. And I also want to point out how Riley Sager does this thing in all of his books. I've read a good majority of them. So I won't say all of his books, but in majority of his books, the ones that I've read, he does this thing where he tries to make the characters seem like she has like a certain like mental illness, and so the reader can be like, can I trust her? Is it her mental illness? Is she an unreliable main character? And then sometimes, and then most of the time it's really not, and it irritates me how he does that every single book, or at least every single book that I've read. And I think I've only not read 3 so far. I don't know why I keep reading. Every Last Fear I did read. I gave it 5 stars at first. I had an arc and I gave it 5. I gave it 5 stars at first when I read the arc, but then I did read the like conservative views that the author put into it, and it did kind of make me uncomfortable, but I was like, maybe I'm reading too much into it, maybe it's me. Then other people started reviewing the book, and they also said that it was making them uncomfortable and they didn't like it. So I was like, okay. Because other than like the conservative or the author's personal views, I did enjoy the book. Like, it was a good mystery. It was a good thriller. It kept me intrigued and all that stuff, but the personal views really made me uncomfortable. And after other people read it and they said like it made them uncomfortable too, I was like, okay, so it's not just me. These Hollow Vows, I did read These Hollow Vows. I think I gave it, I did give it 3 out of 5 stars. I did like it, but it was just like kind of basic and predictable. I am gonna continue on and read the second book. It is about this girl. It's basically a Cinderella retelling, which is also a reason why I liked it, because like I said earlier, it was getting us out of the typical like Beauty and the Beast retelling. So it's about this girl, and she lives with her aunt and her aunt's two kids. Sorry, and her aunt's two kids, and her and her sister live there. And then basically she's in debt to her aunt, and one day her aunt sells her sister, and her aunt's like, okay, you're out of debt now. So now the girl has to go to Fairy World because they sell her sister to Fairy World. Now her sister, now the main character has to go to Fairy World to like save her sister. And it was pretty good. It had a love triangle, which I didn't care about either of the people in the love triangle, which I love love triangles, so I was just sitting there like, okay. And the next book we have is Ace of Spades, which, period, I already know. I gave that book 5 out of 5 stars. It was such a great book. One of my favorite books of the year. And if you don't know what it's about, where have you been? Have you been living under a freaking rock? I have Such a Quiet Place, which I did read. I think I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. This one is about this neighborhood where one of the girls ends up getting out of jail or prison, and she lived with the main character, and she comes back and she's gonna pretend like nothing happened. And she went to prison for killing the neighbors, the neighbors. And so basically you're trying to find out, basically the book follows like if she really did it or not, in the neighborhood secrets. I did like the book. I just felt like the plot twist fell flat, but I'm also teaching myself to like books without like the plot twist having to be like super good. I also read For Your Own Good. I loved For Your Own Good. I think I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. This one is about this teacher who is like really harsh, and another teacher dies and it's under investigation, and a student is taken to prison for it. That description sounds terrible. It's a lot better than what I just said, but it was such a good book. The teacher who not the teacher who died, but the teacher who's like really mean, he's hilarious. He's funny. This book was funny. This book was entertaining. I really liked it. A Lesson in Vengeance, I still haven't read yet. I think I'm gonna do a Dark Academia reading vlog this month because I was supposed to do it in November and I just never got to it. So hopefully I can do it this month, and hopefully I can read A Lesson in Vengeance. This Poison Heart, I did read this book. I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. I liked it, but I'm not gonna continue on with the series. I'm not gonna lie. I think I'm just so done with, like, I don't want to say so done with YA, but I'm really leaning out of YA. This Poison Heart is about this girl who can control plants, and she is gifted this house from her aunt. And so her and her 2 moms move into this house, and some crazy weird stuff starts happening, as well as her powers developing, or she just learning how to use her powers better. And so, like I said, I liked it, but I didn't like how it was written. I don't like when authors purposely use black references so that black people can be like, I don't know how to explain it, but it was some black phrases that were used in this book that was very like didn't make sense in the context, and it was very clear the author just wanted to, girl, what are you doing? It was very clear the author just wanted to like use the phrase just so she could like, so the black readers could be like, hey, you know. And I also have Covet by Tracy Wolff, which I never read. I don't even know if I'm going to continue on with the series, to be honest, because like I said earlier, I really don't like when authors use books, like basically make their series longer than what it needs to be. It Happened One Summer, didn't read. The Shadow of the Gods, I started and I don't know why I started and I did not finish it. Wings of Ebony, I did not read that. So yeah, that is it for this video. If you want to see the one, I feel like I have cat hair everywhere. If you like the one that I did, if you want to see the one that I did last year, I can definitely link that for you guys. And if you want to see another one next year, please let me know. Any video ideas, any videos you want me to see. Not a bookshelf tour. I'm sorry, but you're not getting a bookshelf tour until I move out, and that won't be for a minute because I do not have enough space. And I also have to die down on my book buying because I have a cat to take care of now. So thank you for watching this video. Of course, my freaking camera overheated, but yes, that is it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.